I might be taking crazy pills here. Am I the only one concerned that Adrian Martinez might start at quarterback on Sunday? Is that just a me thing? Brock Purdy's got a toe, and he's limited, and Kyle Shanahan's like, it's better today than it was yesterday, but we'll see how it goes. And then John Lynch said the same thing on Thursday. He's limited Wednesday and Thursday. Mac Jones limited Wednesday and Thursday. I don't know. I guess the fact they haven't brought in another quarterback is a good sign that one of those guys is probably going to be. I think that Adrian Martinez starting a football game, a professional NFL football game for the San Francisco 49ers is a big enough disaster that it at least has to be talked about.
Sure. Well, as the person who said repeatedly, I don't know if you remember this, Kyle, but said repeatedly that he thought Brock Purdy was going to play last week.
The official stance of this podcast.
I'm pretty sure Brock Purdy is going to play this week. There was reporting, last week that Brock Purdy had a much better chance to play Sunday against Jacksonville. There has not been any reporting to the contrary. Brock Purdy has continued to practice. So my expectation is Brock Purdy would practice. And Mac Jones is also participating in practice, even with the knee injury. So, yeah, my expectation is the 49ers will have both their starting and backup quarterbacks on Sunday. But we're less than a week removed from being completely wrong on the subject. So I'm not – anything's possible. I'm not completely closed off to the idea. But I think there would be a little bit more noise coming out of Santa Clara if there was real concern about Adrian Martinez having to start Sunday.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what's I get him being a little bit over the top there, but it does feel funny to me. Exactly what you said. I thought last week, Purdy's practicing. He's going to play. Like we talked about it on this podcast. If you want to hear it, you can go listen. But I'm just, it's in the back of my mind that Purdy's limited and questionable. Mac Jones limited and questionable. Purdy on Saturday is just like, dang, dude, it's just not quite right. And Mac Jones is like, man, I got to play with a brace, or I'd have to play with a brace, and I don't know, it just doesn't, I feel like that's on the table, at least a little, and therefore it should at least be mentioned. That way, if Adrian Martinez does start a football game, you and I look very smart for discussing it.
I think you would look smarter than me in this instance, but
no, we're all in the same. I'm dragging you with me.
I think it would at this point. I think it would take a setback between we're recording this Thursday night. I think it would take a setback on Friday or even Saturday for it to get to that point. But you never know. As our good friend Nick Wagner says, anything is possible.
Never say never.
Never say never. That's what he says.
He invented that phrase.
Never. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, he invented that.
He was
phrase.
only one to ever say it before anybody else.
That. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick. A real wordsmith, that guy.
Yeah, really good. Jaguars defense diving into this matchup a little bit. The Jaguars defense is actually pretty good. And
it's not a bad group.
They forced 3 turnovers in the first 3 games. In each of their first 3 games. So they lead the NFL with 9 turnovers forced. And I think on paper you should feel pretty good about this game as a 49ers fan. But if it goes wrong, I think it goes wrong because of turnovers. Like Brock Purdy coming back, maybe a receiver slips or the timing's off on one of those over the middle routes. Like that's kind of the thing with the 49ers that I think leaves them a little bit vulnerable sometimes is a lot of those throws over the middle that Brock Purdy's so good at and the Niners offense relies so heavily on. Those are risky throws, right? Like if the timing's off a split second, it can lead to an interception like we saw in the Arizona game.
Yep.
Right. We've seen countless 49ers quarterbacks, including Brock Purdy, a ton from Jimmy Garoppolo, throw a lot of interceptions over the middle of the field just because the timing was off or they're trying to force a throw into traffic. And that can leave the 49ers vulnerable. So I think turnovers are the way Jacksonville gives themselves a shot in this game if they can take the ball away from the Niners. But, we can talk about Nick Bosa and his absence and what it looks like this week. But I think I feel pretty good about the 49ers chances, particularly if and when Brock Purdy plays. You get DeMarcus Robinson back. Ricky Pearsall, while he's missed practice Wednesday with a knee injury, it sounds like he's going to be okay to play. We still don't know about Jawan Jennings yet, but I would just, getting DeMarcus Robinson back could potentially be really, really big for the Niners offense. So I think they're going to feel a little bit of urgency on the offensive side to score more points because of what's happening with Nick Bosa's absence on defense. And so the turnovers to me are the big thing, because I've kind of put special teams like away. When Jake Moody's your kicker, you get special teams is always sort of right here buzzing by the side of your face. But when you have like a kicker like Eddie Pinheiro, who's pretty reliable, you don't have to worry about, well, there, a couple missed field goals and then this game's completely different. Like, no, you don't feel that way with Eddie Pinheiro. So praise be for Eddie D. Eddie P.
Eddie D too, I guess.
Sure.
So here's I do want to talk about the Niners defense and Nick Bosa for sure, but when you talk about Jacksonville, I think it's worth noting, and again, you play who's on your schedule. I understand that. They played the Carolina Panthers in week 1, who they beat 26-10. Bryce Young threw 2 interceptions. Then they played the Cincinnati Bengals in the game where Joe Burrow got hurt and Jake Browning threw 3 interceptions and hung 31 points on them in a Bengals win. And then they played Houston, which is a disaster on offense right now. Just a complete mess on that side of the ball. So I think that's one thing that inflates some of their peripheral stats for sure. On the other hand, their offense is not great. They've had Brian Thomas Jr. problems, and they're trying to figure out how to get Travis Hunter integrated, and they've got some talented running backs. They have some really talented players in their backfield, but I think they're still trying to figure out how to utilize that group. The offensive line's not bad. I have no idea Trevor Lawrence is good. I feel like the Jags are maybe a little bit more middle of the road than the numbers might suggest at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They feel kind of similar to the Cardinals in that, like, the Cardinals have a pretty good defense, but you look at their skill players offensively and be like, oh, that makes, like, they could have a pretty good offense if it all clicks. Like, conceptually, like, Trevor Lawrence, like, first overall pick quarterback, some decent skill position players, and a talented and young defense. That's kind of how I feel the same way about Jacksonville and Arizona in that sense. And meanwhile, last I saw, Arizona was playing terribly against Seattle at halftime. Maybe that switched, but we're recording during that game.
I believe they just kicked a field goal to make it an 11-point game with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. So that's how Arizona's doing.
Okay. Am I wrong though? Do they feel like kind of similar teams, like similar trajectories almost, in that, like, yeah, conceptually they make sense as a potential contender, but we just haven't fully seen it from them yet?
Yeah, I feel like both teams have, like you said, quarterbacks that feel like they should be better than they are.
Yeah.
And or maybe more productive than they are. I'm not totally sure how I want to word that. I don't think they're bad players necessarily, but I think they've probably underperformed their draft slots as number 1 overall picks. The other thing that I think is a little bit or similar is with Jacksonville and with Arizona, it feels like there's just like a piece missing. Like they're 1 or 2 players away. And I wouldn't, be able to say, oh, they each need X, Y, and Z, but it does feel like they're just a little bit short talent wise. And maybe it's a coaching problem. Maybe it's a quarterback problem. I'm not totally sure, but I think I agree with you. It feels like Arizona should be better than they are. Whereas Jacksonville feels like, oh, they're staying stagnant.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think I felt initially like maybe they're different, but
yeah, I feel like Trevor Lawrence should be better than he is.
Yeah.
The advanced metrics don't love Trevor Lawrence through 3 games, which could go a couple of different ways. It could be like, oh, he's just feeling it out and he's going to sort of revert or like finally have a good game against the Niners, or it's just going to be more of the same. I tend to think it's going to be more of the same, particularly going on the road. The Niners are generally a pretty tough home team, especially when their defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think even without Nick Bosa, the defense is pretty solid. I think like going back to 2020, the Niners had the 5th ranked defense just in terms of overall yardage. And, there are a bunch of other metrics that signaled that they were probably a top 10 unit. I think they were 17th in opponent scoring, but a lot of that was because the offense turned the ball over a ton. I just think with Mykel Williams and Bryce Huff and the rotation that they have along the interior with, Kalia Davis and Jordan Elliott and Alfred Collins and CJ West, like if CJ West is healthy, and the way D Winters is playing and the way the secondary is playing, I just think the Niners defense can still be good enough against a team like Jacksonville to where you don't need to score 30 points to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how we shift in the conversation about Nick Bosa's absence. But I just think with Mykel Williams and Bryce Huff specifically, I feel like the 49ers actually did a pretty good job of insulating themselves from Nick Bosa, and obviously a Nick Bosa injury, but obviously like Nick Bosa is a huge loss and he was playing at a pretty high level before going down. But if they I kind of feel like if Robert Saleh could do it with Kerry Hyder and Jordan Willis, that he could probably do it with Mykel Williams and Bryce Huff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this year's defense is probably more talented than the 2020 defense, and I think this year's offense is going to be dramatically better than the 2020 offense. So it's like if they can get right offensively. I want to finish this point, say one thing about Trevor Lawrence, and then we can talk about Nick Bosa.
Okay.
But if they can be a middle of the road defense, if they can be 13th to 15th defensively, and you can put together a top 5 or 6 offense, you can go win a Super Bowl like that. And I think the Niners have the firepower once they're healthy to have a top 5 or 6 offense. And I think their defense is good enough that you trust them in a 3rd and 8 in a big game to get off the field. So that's where I'm at on that. Trevor Lawrence, real quick, before we shift gears to replacing Nick Bosa. On play action this year, he's completing 40% of his passes with 4.8 yards per attempt on play action. That's like every quarterback's bread and butter. And he's completing 40% of his throws. I've got one better for you. Trevor Lawrence on throws 10 or more yards down the field. 10 plus yards down the field. He is 15 of 39 for 289 yards with a touchdown, 3 interceptions, and 6 turnover-worthy plays if you're into that kind of thing. Like, holy shit, dude. That is super not good.
Completion percentage over expectation, which is basically a accuracy stat.
Mm-hmm.
He's 31st in the NFL. He's minus 10.8%. So he's completing fewer throws than he should.
Golly. I will say the Jags as a team have dropped 13 passes already.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it just feels like if the Niners can score and if they can continue to get, good efficiency from Christian McCaffrey in the passing game, if they could run the ball a little bit, if they can keep going with Ricky Pearsall, if DeMarcus Robinson can play at a reasonable level coming back from his suspension, the game does not favor Jacksonville if it's high scoring.
I'm with you.
I think if the Jags can muck it up and force some turnovers and make it kind of look like the Arizona game and keep the 49ers offense to 17 points, then that's their shot. But if the Niners are going up and down the field and they're scoring 24 plus points, I just don't know that Jacksonville is going to be able to hang with them, even without Nick Bosa.
I agree with you. They just don't have the firepower.
Yeah.
So what do you think it looks like? Oh, go ahead.
No, Trevor Lawrence just hasn't been good enough to give him that benefit of the doubt yet.
So what do you think it looks like without Nick Bosa?
I think it's probably something like from what I've seen from Robert Saleh and the way the defense has played this season, it just feels like with the exception of like 3 plays, and 2 of them were on that touchdown drive against the Cardinals, it feels like the 49ers defense has been incredibly assignment sound.
Yeah.
Like, you're not seeing blown coverages. You're not seeing space in the field left open. You're seeing everybody play really assignment sound football. And it feels a lot like it just feels like the defense says, all right, you want to take underneath passes all day and get 4 yards a pass on, like, in the flat, like,
Right.
throw a pass in the flat, we'll have you covered downfield, and then our linebackers are just going to be like freaking hyenas, and D Winters and Fred Warner are going to chase you down, and, like, good luck getting 5 or 6 yards out of that, and, like, good luck having a 14 play touchdown drive that way.
Yeah.
Right. They're just they're just not
Which is
giving up the big plays.
And that's Robert Saleh's thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But they generally have been good tacklers. Where it's gonna show up, I think, is in the running game for sure, which was already a little bit of a concern, even with Nick Bosa. And obviously, you're not going to get the pass rushing productivity without Nick Bosa there. But I still think you can be a good enough pass defense because of what you have at linebacker and in the secondary. And I think if they can be good enough to where it's not like an automatic blitz on every single third down, then ultimately that's a win. Because Robert Saleh is going to blitz. Like, that's going to be something that happens, particularly on third down. But if it's if they can get some pressure with 4, and if they can prevent quarterbacks from scrambling and making plays with their legs, like, I thought they did a pretty good job against Kyler with that. I mean, Kyler's going to get some of those plays just because he's Kyler. But if you can limit those types of plays, stay in your pass rush lanes, and just kind of collapse the pocket, you're not going to be like the best pass rushing team in the world. But if you can just collapse the pocket, I think you can be effective enough against Jacksonville in particular. And Jacksonville's kind of analogous with, like, the rest of the schedule, right? Like, it just feels like there are a lot of quarterbacks at Trevor Lawrence's level on the 49ers schedule. And that's kind of why I've been so optimistic about this season. It's just like, they just don't play a ton of super elite quarterbacks, so they can be good enough defensively. I still feel that way even without Nick Bosa. So we can talk about a trade, but I think they can do enough against Jacksonville without him.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what it looks like in terms of run defense. Like, can Bryce Huff consistently play the run at a high level? Because if he can, that changes a lot. That makes things a lot easier for San Francisco, I think. The bigger deal, though, I think, is less the down-to-down pressure and more the 3rd and 8 3-point game. Jacksonville has the ball on their own 40. Can you generate a pressure there? Bryce Huff's done it, but Nick Bosa's also done it. So does Mykel Williams show up there? Does Bryce Huff show up there? Does Yetur Gross-Matos make a play? Is it one of the defensive tackles making a play? That's what I think. That's what I'm going to be looking for in those spots, and I think that's what ultimately could be the determining factor in the 49ers making a trade. Like, if they're not getting pressure kind of throughout the game and they got to dial up some blitzes, but overall they're doing fine, and on big third downs, 3rd and longs, they're getting after the quarterback. I don't think they're going to do anything drastic. But man, if Trevor Lawrence gets all day and torches their defense, and it's Robert Saleh having to empty the playbook, throwing blitzes at Trevor Lawrence, then at that point I think they make a trade before that deadline in November.
Yeah, and to your point, Next Gen Stats says the 49ers. 5. What's that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Looking up the NFL trade deadline.
Next Gen Stats says the 49ers pressure rate on third down at 50%, which is 6th best in the NFL through 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's been a really important stat for them, I think. And if they can keep that up, I think that will go a long way towards telling us whether or not the defense is good enough without Nick Bosa. Because if that falls apart and then the defense sort of falls apart on third down, to your point, then we start talking trades.
So So I think we're gonna find out pretty quick. The deadline is after week 9. It's November 4th, 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's after week 9 when they play the New York Giants. But before that, they play the Texans. The Falcons are before that. The week 5 and 6 games are where I think they're going to determine whether they need to go get a pass rusher or not. That's going to be the Rams. That's going to be the Buccaneers. Those are two teams that figure to be playoff teams and may fancy themselves Super Bowl contenders in the NFC. If they struggle to stop those two offenses, then I think you see them take a semi-significant swing on the trade market. Otherwise, I think it'll be one of those really low-level moves we've kind of talked about.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point when we talked about this earlier in the week, in that the Niners can wait. Like, they don't have to make a move right now. They can see what it looks like defensively.
Being 3-0 helps.
Being 3-0 helps. If they can get to 4-0, then the worst case scenario is they're 4-2 after playing the Rams and the Bucks, two teams that look like they're going to be for sure in the playoff mix. That's a good litmus test, I think. Going to the Rams on a Thursday night, going to play Tampa on the road with the mini bye before it. That will give you a real good look into it as far as like where your defense is at. So I'm all for seeing how those 2 weeks go, but you have that luxury if you win on Sunday. So like you need to take care of Jacksonville, so you give yourself that luxury to where you can like be in sort of evaluation mode against good teams and good quarterbacks and Matt Stafford and Baker Mayfield the next 2 weeks. And then, yeah, you could potentially wait till, week 9. Like, if you're 5-4, you're probably not making the same trade as you would make if you were 8-1.
Totally.
Right. So yeah, like I think if they're 8-1, Trey Hendrickson feels a lot more on the table than if they're 5-4. Or
right.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. Let's table this. Let's talk about our friends at LAMBCHOPS first before we get into
because
the trade discussion.
Craig is going to love my take.
SGLambchops.com is the website. The website's up right now. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, and why wouldn't you be? You should absolutely subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see the fall line is out, the white t-shirt. I need to get some. I'm wearing a white LAMBCHOPS shirt now. It's one of the OGs.
Yeah,
it is super comfortable. It's like the perfect weight for fall.
Agreed.
It's just like you can wear it outside, kind of like when it's a little crisp, when it's got that like Northern California crisp fall breeze. This t-shirt that I'm wearing is amazing, and I'm assuming this fall line is going to be the same. I need to get the black shirt and the black knit sweater. That's definitely going to be a thing that's added to the wardrobe. And we might also get the sweatsuit. We've talked about the sweatsuit. It might have to happen. I have lots of LAMBCHOP sweats already, but why not have the latest and greatest? So SG LAMBCHOPS, right. SGLambchops.com is the website. Promo code Candlestick20. Merch coming soon. Candlestick Chronicles and LAMBCHOPS merch is on the way, so keep an eye out for that. We'll have more details coming up here later. But Candlestick20 is a promo code again. SGLambchops.com. Shout out to Craig. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to all those guys. We appreciate them very much. And check out their gear. It's amazing stuff.
Join the herd.
Candlestick Chronicles is also brought to you by PrizePicks. Let me just pull up my lineup here, Kyle.
I got my lineup too. I'm ready to rock.
Okay. But before that, we have a message for the people. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Kyle, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. All right. I have a monster play here. It is a flex play. I'm going fewer or less than 243.5 passing yards for Brock Purdy. I still think Brock Purdy's going to be effective. More than 243 feels like a lot. The pass catching situation is in flux. So we'll see. I'm also taking less than 224.5 passing yards for Trevor Lawrence. I just think the Niners are going to slow him down. He hasn't been good this year. Going on the road and doing that is going to be difficult for Trevor Lawrence. So Brian Robinson, demon play. I'm going more than half of a rush or receiving touchdown.
Wow.
I think he might just vulture Christian McCaffrey here right at the goal line. It might just be like 2nd and 1 from the 1. Christian McCaffrey got you there with like a 29-yard run. Needs a breather. Brian Robinson comes in, snakes a touchdown. That's what this play is all about. Luke Farrell. Look, you got Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Do a little play action to CMC. You got Luke Farrell wide open in the flat. Boom, easy touchdown. I think that's going to happen.
Yep.
Eddie Pinheiro. More than half of a field goal made. There's no explanation needed. Ricky Pearsall, longest reception, more than 24.5. He's the Niners' biggest play threat in the passing game, or biggest big play threat in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that play a lot. So I'm not going to do the math, but it's a $20 play if they all hit. Your boy gets $1,720. So
love this for you.
Yeah. What there's the. We could be, maybe I'll stop podcasting after Sunday, depending on.
Yeah. Don't forget the little people, you know. So what's funny is between us, we have 11 players in our lineups and none of them are the same. So I rocked with Jalen Hurts against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a special right now. I took more than half a passing yard. I feel really good about Jalen Hurts putting together 1 passing yard against Tampa Bay's defense. For the 49er game, I'm going Christian McCaffrey, less than 75.5 rushing yards. I'm going to keep leaning on the less on 49ers rushing yards until they figure the run game out. That's the way I'm leaning. And I think the Jags are good enough in the trenches that this is not the week the 49ers are going to get it figured out. I have Jake Tunges, less than 20.5 receiving yards. That feels like a lot of receiving yards for Jake Tunges, especially in a scenario where DeMarcus Robinson's going to be back, where Ricky Pearsall, it sounds like, is going to play. Juwan Jennings might be back. There could be a ton of pass-catching options where Jake Tunges might get 3 or 4 targets, but I think he's going to get 15 or 16 yards in those targets.
Especially if Luke Farrell's the clear and obvious red zone target.
Yeah, especially if he's like, if you're thrown to a tight end, you're going to get the one that gets you a tutty, right? And Jake Tunges, no notable touchdowns this season. Parker Washington, that's a joke, everyone. Parker Washington, he's a wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's on my dynasty fantasy team, so I'm picking him more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. He is, I think, their most reliable receiver. I'm not even joking. I think he's their most reliable wide receiver, and so I think you're going to see Trevor Lawrence lean on him while facing a very good 49ers defense. And I'm not totally sure the 49ers secondary is good yet. So I'm gonna lean on the third receiver if the 49ers are focusing on Travis Hunter, focusing on Brian Thomas, focusing on Brenton Strange. But I think Parker Washington sneaks into the end zone. And then Thomas Morstead, I'm going more than 3.5 punts. Niners offense is not quite in rhythm yet. Jags defense, not bad. I think the Niners might punt a few times. That is my $5 flex play, my 5-pick $5 flex play.
Yeah, so make sure you download the app today. Use code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Yeah, it is. Hella good to be right. Can I talk about the Trey Hendrickson thing?
Yeah, let's talk about Nick Bosa trade replacement ideas, because I do have some thoughts too.
So you said that if they're 8-1 going into the trade deadline, that Trey Hendrickson is more on the table than if they're 5-4.
In my opinion, yes.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, because every time they make a significant trade, it is when they think they can win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They're not going to make a big swing to try and get to that level. They're going to make that big swing. They're going to give up future assets when they think, okay, this is a Super Bowl team that is a piece away. They thought they were a wide receiver away in 2019, so they went and got Emmanuel Sanders. They needed to figure out their running back room in 2022, so they went and got Christian McCaffrey. they if they get to 8-1 or 7-2 or whatever it is by the trade deadline, and they look like a legit contender, I very much think they will make that kind of swing to try and get themselves over the hump and into that like elite tier of team.
Mm-hmm.
If they're 5-4, maybe they go get a Charles Omenihu type player where they make an addition and maybe try and make a late push, but I think they have to play really well if they're going to go play in the pool of top end defensive ends who might be available.
Yeah, I'm with you. The thing, this is always sort of the difficult part about it when you're talking about these trades, because the 49ers are going to have needs going forward, like very pressing ones. And the one that sticks out the most to me is left tackle in particular. Mm-hmm. I think the 49ers are planning to use a first-round pick on Trent Williams' replacement at some point. I don't know that they're going to be in a position where there's going to be some offensive tackle that hits the free agent market, because very rarely do they. And first of all. And I don't know that they're going to have the money to just be like, yeah, we'll just pay, this free agent tackle top of the market $30-35 million a year to just come in and replace Trent Williams. Maybe that's out there. Mm-hmm. But I think what's more likely to happen is the 49ers find a tackle that they really like in the draft, move up and draft him, whether it's this spring or the following spring in 2027. I just think at some point over the next 2 years, the 49ers are going to do it. They have to do it.
Yep.
Obviously, that becomes much more difficult if you trade a first-round pick for somebody like Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
So when you look at the history of the 49ers, the only time they've traded a first-round pick was for Trey Lance.
Yep.
And obviously that didn't work out, and I think a really strong argument could be made that had they not made the Trey Lance trade and they had 3 other first-round picks on the roster, even if they only hit on 2 or even if they only hit on 1, there's a good chance that whoever those players were would have helped the 49ers against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And maybe they have more depth on the defensive line. Maybe they have, maybe they have a better offensive lineman. Maybe they have another sick receiver. You could go down the line, any position, and just say, yeah, if the 49ers had 2 or 3 extra first-round picks, productive players, they would have won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think that was the lesson for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch when it comes to dealing away future first-round draft picks. And as enticing as it would be to get Trey Hendrickson, you only do it if you think that guy's getting you to the Super Bowl and potentially winning you a Super Bowl. Yep. To which point, if you're 7-2, all right, it's kind of on the table for me. If you're 6-3, can we get Bradley Chubb? Can we give Miami maybe a day 2 pick or a package of a 3rd and a 5th or something for Bradley Chubb? Does that make more sense? I'd kind of lean more that direction, understanding that Trey Hendrickson is a dramatically better player than Bradley Chubb. And Bradley Chubb obviously dealt with a ton of injuries. He has 3 sacks through the first 3 games of this season.
All right.
But he has torn his ACL 3 times, which is what Nick Bosa's done.
Oh.
But Michael Clemens from the Jets, Kayvon Thibodeaux, I think, is a really interesting one. You could probably get him for something more similar to, I don't know, if you're the Giants and the Niners offer you, if the Giants are out of it, and they very well could be out of it depending on how Jackson Dart plays. Mm-hmm. But if they're out of it in a few weeks, if you're the Niners, could you say, hey, take a second for Kayvon Thibodeaux now? You don't have to pay him. You don't have to wait for a comp pick, which would probably be a 3rd or 4th rounder. Take a second for him now, and then the Niners get him under contract for this season and next.
Yeah, at an affordable number next year, it's $15 million is the 5th-year option.
And the thing is, a player like that, you could trade in the offseason. The 49ers could just say, yeah, we don't want to pay him. Kayvon Thibodeaux is going to want a new contract. The 49ers are not going to be in position to give him a new contract. So if Kayvon Thibodeaux comes to the Niners, has a good season, then you could trade that guy maybe for a similar package to what you're shipping out to the Giants right now anyway. So I'm intrigued by that idea, but I think that my overarching theme is I'm just incredibly hesitant to deal a first-round pick if I'm the 49ers. Because of what's looming with Trent Williams. You might want to get another edge rusher. If Trent Williams comes back next year, you might want to get another edge rusher or defensive lineman as, to insulate yourself even further from Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa's looming, 30s. Like Nick Bosa, if Nick Bosa ages like his brother in the league, then you're going to have to think about adding more edge depth too. And the best way to do that is with a first-round pick. So the Niners, I think, need their first-round picks. I'm all in on the idea of like if they're in position to maybe make a run at somebody, but I'm just real hesitant about giving away first-round picks.
Yeah, you can't be on the timeline they're on and just give away first for players that aren't going to be impact players for you long term. No, if they want to pay Kayvon Thibodeaux, and or I guess you're probably not giving up a first for Kayvon Thibodeaux, but let's say in the universe where they go, you know what, we want Trey Hendrickson and we're going to pay out Trey Hendrickson and make sure that he's part of this team for the next 5 years, 4 years, whatever.
I don't see it.
No, I don't either. No, I don't either. But if because I know the money doesn't work and the age doesn't work, but if there's some player out there who's available and good, and they want to sign him long term, then maybe it's different. But I really don't think unless a Micah Parsons type player is available, and even Micah Parsons, it was reported they thought that the deal was too rich. So, all of that is a long way of saying I agree with you. I don't think they're trading a first round pick for an edge.
Yeah,
all caps.
So I'll be real interested to see how many teams are in the market for Trey Hendrickson. Because, if there are a few teams that need an edge guy, then I would guess he goes for a first-round pick. Micah Parsons just went for 2.
Yeah.
And just in terms of pure production, like Trey Hendrickson is one of the best edge defenders in the NFL, like full stop. The difference is obviously he's only signed through this year, and he's a significantly older player. But I just wonder if the market is going to lead to Hendrickson going for a first-round pick, or if you can get him for a second or even 2 seconds, like I wouldn't hate that for the Niners. You look at the trades that they've made. Christian McCaffrey was a second, a third, a fourth, and a 2024 fifth. So they did that trade in 2023. Second, third, fourth that year, and a 2024 fifth. I would say it was worth it to this point. Emmanuel Sanders, they got in 2019. They traded a 2023 and a 2024. To me, if you can get Bradley Chubb for something like that, that's kind of where I'm at. And it might even be less than that. Trent Williams, which is like the all-time steal of trades, maybe in like Niners history.
Insane.
Was they in 2020, they traded a fifth and then a 2021 third, which is completely bonkers. And if you can get a good pass rusher for a fifth and a third, I would definitely be down for something like that. Chase Young was a comp 2024 4th-round pick, I believe it was. And then Charles Omenihu was a 2023 6th. And there have been other minor trades that they've made. But the point being is like when you look at CMC, Trent Williams, Emmanuel Sanders, those are kind of like the big names you think of in 49ers trades. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo, 2nd-round pick. Obviously, got to include Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jesus, that was 100 years ago.
This is so long ago. But they are hesitant to trade first-round picks.
I want to issue a small correction.
Okay.
They also traded a first-round pick in the Solomon Thomas deal. Technically,
they swapped first-round picks. Yeah.
The worst person you know was going to
if you want to do
send
that,
us a message on the internet.
They also did in the Brandon Ayuk trade to move up to get Brandon Ayuk.
Great point.
Right, but swapping a
God, they're just come to think of it, they're just dishing out first round picks left and right.
Well, yeah, When you're talking about moving up in the draft, yes, technically they have traded.
God, and they traded one for the Javon Kinlaw. My goodness.
Did they move up for Kinlaw?
No, they moved back one.
No, they moved back.
Still, they traded away their first round pick.
Can you imagine if they just took Tristan Wirfs?
God, be a good team.
I mean, maybe they don't have Brandon Ayuk, and maybe the Packers get Brandon Ayuk, and then the Packers beat the Niners in the, what was it? Would that be 2019?
No, Ayuk was the 2020 draft.
Oh yeah, so right, maybe in 2021 or 2022, whenever the Niners played the Packers.
The Packers could have had
2023.
The Packers could have had God on their team in 2019, and they weren't stopping Raheem Mostert.
Sure, that's fair. And Brandon Ayuk certainly wouldn't have helped in that regard. But
no, I don't think so.
But maybe one of the other playoff games where the 49ers went against the Packers, having Brandon Ayuk on the other side would have been tough. But Tristan Wirfs, man, that would have been a hell of an addition to the Niners offensive line.
Yeah, would have.
Anyway, that's a complete aside.
Can he rush the passer?
I mean, maybe.
Good size, good athlete.
You put Tristan Wirfs at 3 technique, like he could probably make some hay, I would think. But
Seattle just missed a field goal. Cardinals getting the ball back with 3:16 left on their own 43.
What's the score?
20-13 Seahawks.
Okay. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I kind of think someone like Bradley Chubb or Michael Clemens from the Jets or Kayvon Thibodeaux, somebody of that ilk feels more likely to me than Trey Hendrickson.
I don't think Michael Clemens is in that group for me.
No, he's the third tier. The second tier is Chubb and Thibodeaux.
If I think they would go get a Michael Clemens, regardless of their record, if they're just not enjoying like the Robert Beal snaps. And they're just like, hey, we need just a guy who we trust can play 10 snaps a game.
Sure.
That's where I see. But yeah, if they get to the trade deadline at 8-1, 7-2, I would expect them to make some kind of significant addition, barring another injury at a different spot.
Yeah. Do you think they're at the point where they have like been on the phone with Cincinnati's front office and said like, hey, before you trade Trey Hendrickson, like just tell us what the best offer is just before you make that deal as a courtesy to see if we can beat it?
Yeah, but I think that it would be malpractice if the day after Nick Bosa got hurt, you didn't at least call Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Just to... Apparently that's what Howie Roseman does. He just calls every team and says, hey, is that good player available for a second-round pick? Just do that.
Or is that not so good player available for a second-round pick?
Is Kevin Byard available for a 6th? Howie's done it again. Can't wait till they give Chauncey Gardner-Johnson a contract.
The Niners or the Eagles?
The Eagles. Not the 49ers. God, that'd be awful. Speaking of which, shout out to Jair Brown. Jair Brown as a Sam linebacker has been a fun experiment.
That's like my whole thing with the Niners defense, and that's a classic example of it, is just that they're better than the sum of their parts because they're so well coached. And maybe it's too early to say this because it's still only September, but my big takeaway defensively from the first 3 weeks of the season is that, man, Robert Saleh is just a much better coordinator than their last 2.
It is night and day, dude.
It's like, and it's a reminder of like, oh yeah, if you have really good coaching, you don't need elite talent. Mm-hmm. But when you have elite talent with really good coaching, that's when you're like, okay, then you're a monster and a potential juggernaut. So if the 49ers can develop some of these dudes, like it seems like they are right now, into star type players, then I think the future looks really bright. Like this felt like a transition year. It's like, no, they're already like pretty good.
Yeah.
Like you think about, what year 3 and 4 of Mykel Williams looks like, and like D Winters as he continues to play, and some of these
Marquise
other guys.
Siegel looks like a player.
Yeah, like Upton
Upton
Stout
Stout.
in years
Mhm.
2, 3, and 4. Like
Ricky
this,
Pearsall's a gangster.
yeah, this is all very, very positive
Mhm.
so far. So in the short term, I think what's fun about the Niners season right now is you can make a case that they're just kind of playing with house money.
Yeah, and I think that probably helps. Like, it's so different from every year since 2019.
Yeah.
Every single year, it was like, yo, if you don't win the Super Bowl, you did something wrong. And now it's like, man, make the playoffs. Maybe.
Yeah, like you're a young team, you're rebuilding. Like, let's see how far this thing goes. Not, God, got to win the Super Bowl or it's a total failure.
Right.
So I think that's...
And it looks like they're having a good time playing football. And I love that.
And I think...
Love that for them.
Agree. And that's probably a part of them wanting to sort of reset things a little bit. I mean, obviously you're going to take a step back maybe from just how your overall talent level, but if in the long term you're developing guys like Micah Williams and Upton Stout and Marquise Siegel and the list goes on, like towards, something sustainable going forward, I think it's worth taking that step back.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So,
and who knows, if they get healthy and the young players keep developing at the rate they're developing, they might be really, really hard to beat come January.
Yeah.
So,
particularly if Trey Hendrickson's adding to the pass rush.
Great point. That's all I got.
You have a prediction for Niners Jags?
I'm going to pick the 49ers to win this week, but I don't think they get a rhythm offensively. I just think that they make more plays defensively. And I'm going to go 49ers 23, Jags 17.
26-17 Niners. That's my prediction.
What's the spread? Do you know?
I don't. I'm curious if are you checking right now? I'm curious if it reflects Brock Purdy's status or not.
Good point. Let me see.
We are looking at
We are looking live.
So Niners are 4.5 point favorites.
What book are you on?
That is. I'm actually not going to say because we're not sponsored by a betting partner, so I'm not going to give out free publicity. But if you are a sports betting outlet, holler at us.
We will do picks against the spread every week.
We sure will. Niners are 4.5 point favorites.
I think the Niners cover.
I kind of do too. It actually opened at 4.5. It's down to 3.5.
Ooh, sharp money on the Jags. That's the kind of analysis you'll get if you're a sports book and you want to sponsor this program.
Sure, because normally the Niners are such a public team that the money is usually on them. So I'm wondering what's leading to that.
Hey, can I give you my pick of the week?
Sure.
I think it's Browns +10 against the Lions.
Liking that Browns defense, huh?
Loving the Browns defense.
Lions feeling themselves a little bit coming off the Monday night game against Baltimore. Short week.
Mm-hmm.
Browns feeling a little bit desperate, really talented defensively. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Gonna want to prove themselves against this offense that is just absolutely humming right now.
Yeah. I almost just said I'll take the Saints +15.5 at Buffalo, but then
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
It's a stay away. Classic stay away.
Dude. Dude, you don't want to get a little taste of that?
No. I'll take Steelers +2.5 at home against Minnesota.
You're gonna sprinkle some on the Steelers +2.5?
Just a little dusting. A little dusting.
Hey, do not let me put that in a teaser. Do not. I also kind of, and maybe this is just my preconceived bias a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think the Titans are going to cover against the Texans. It's +7.
Clash of 0-3 teams. So you know what they say though when these two teams play is you throw the records
Just
out.
the records gone. This is 0-0 teams going at it. Part of me thinks either the Texans are going to win by 40 or the Titans are going to win.
CJ Stroud isn't this bad, right?
Oh, God. He might be the Marvin Harrison Jr. of quarterbacks.
Have they just ruined? But Stroud had a really good year. We haven't seen Harrison have that type of season that CJ
did have
Stroud
a touchdown tonight.
That would be like a football tragedy if CJ Stroud was ruined by the Texans offensive line.
It would be the second quarterback that they've ruined, and I would move to banish the Texans.
Anyway, yeah, I think Houston bounces back. Maybe I just have too much blind faith in my guy CJ, but all right. You are going on a trip.
I am.
So I will be doing a live show. It's going to be Sunday night. It's not going to be right after the game. It's going to be Sunday night. It'll be a little bit later on the YouTube channel. So keep it locked for that. We will tweet the @CandleCron no stick no ickles on X, the everything app.
Yeah. Nice.
@CandleCron. I'll tweet out the link and the timing for the live show on our YouTube channel. Shouts to all our subscribers. We got to 1,000, which is great. It's not very many, but it's great, and we're still trying to grow. So if you want some, level-headed 49ers talk on your YouTube algorithm, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, the notification bells, all those things. Or if you just want to listen to the podcast, subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts. And 5-star reviews. We always appreciate those very much. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you after the game.